Good afternoon, and this is News Today. I am Emefa Akosia Editi, and first to our first story. Attorney General and Minister of Justice Dr. Dominic Ayine says his office is set to file charges against 12 former directors and staff of the National Service Authority for siphoning over 548 million Ghana cedis through ghost names, and they include former Executive Director Osei Asibe Entry and Ghc48m, Deputy Director at the authority. Dr. Dominic Ayine addressed journalists a while ago in Accra. And as well, we'll bring you details.
Having concluded our investigations, we'll be filing charges against 12 suspects who worked as directors and staff of the NSA. I've already listed them, but for the abundance of doubt, let me mention them again. These are Mustafa Yusuf, a former executive director; Osei Asibe Entry, former director general; Ghc48m Mensah, former deputy executive director; Kweku Ohinijan, former Deputy Executive Director for Operations; Abraham Bismarck Ghc, former Internal Auditor; Kweku Dechi Eje, an Accounts Officer; Idrisu Ibn Abubakar, former Head of Accounts; Stephen Kobina Jemfi, I've asked that he should be rearrested because we've discovered some new accounts that, contain some deposits, and so he was picked up this morning. So he is currently he's undergoing further interrogation. He's the Koforidua director. Then Prince Agbofa Ewuku, a district director, and Jacob Yorsin, management information systems administrator in the northern region. We will also file charges against the following persons who are vendors on the marketplace on the central management system of the NSA in the eastern, Greater Accra, and Ashanti regions: Isaac Osei Asamani, the owner of Stalwart Option Buy Ventures; Charles Ohomening, the owner of GH Ventures; Philomena Arthur, the owner of Brainwave Ventures; Rose Hamilton, the owner of Marine Ventures; Kweku Opare Agbofa, the owner of Franlisa Ventures; Solomon Jamina, the owner of Afarita Ventures; Haruna Mawulaya, the owner of Alfaida Enterprise; Sylvia Ntriwa Opare, the owner of Silsona Ventures; and then Peter Mensah, a legal practitioner and the husband of Ghc48m Mensah. We have made the decision to enter into non-prosecution agreements with some of the persons who were involved in this criminal enterprise, especially the vendors, and these have agreed to provide compelling testimonies as witnesses for the prosecution. In this regard, we have agreed not to disclose their names or their details at this press briefing as part of the NPA, that is a non-prosecution agreement, because this is going to inure to the efficiency of the prosecutions that will be mounted. And in every prosecutorial decision making, we have the discretion to take decisions that will inure to the benefit of the Republic. And we have decided in the office, together with the investigators, that some of the marketplace vendors and some other directors and staff who came to us may be serving as prosecution witnesses. Some of them offered to be prosecution witnesses, and we rejected their offers. They came, met with my deputy, we evaluated the evidence, and thought that it will be inimical to the entire prosecutorial enterprise if we accepted their offers to serve as prosecution witness. So
let's now cross over live to join us Kenneth Ghc at the Information Services. Kenneth, what did we miss, or what more can you report? Kenneth, can you hear me?
If I can hear you. So the Attorney General just finished briefing the press about the Ghost Names Scandal that was first brought to light by the Fourth Estate. And the figures are staggering, a whopping 548 million, more than that actually, has been lost due to criminal enterprises. That's the description that he's given, and he's named about 12 executives and directors, former directors and executives of the National Service Authority who were involved in this. And of course, key amongst them is Ghc48m, who he says at the time was the acting boss of that company. And also we've had the name of a Member of Parliament, Mustafa Yusuf, who has also at a point in time been a boss of that institution. And he goes on to say that Ghc48m, for instance, used the NSS allowance as collateral to secure over 30 million cedis loan from the ADB. He mentioned that they created more ghost names. Ghc48m, for instance, created over 9,000 ghost names to facilitate that particular loan that she secured from the ADB, and created a company that, according to the Attorney General, was supposed to provide home appliances to the National Service personnel on high purchase basis, but that was never the case. And of course, the Attorney General has vowed to recover all the monies. There were questions about whether or not there's just going to be prosecution and no recovery, and he said that the purpose of the oral really is to recover all loot, and the main thing that they're going to do is, of course, they're going to prosecute them, but they're also going to ensure that they're able to recover most of the loot, although he has conceded that they may not be able to cover all the monies that have been lost, but they will recover most of them. And it came in the news that in the lead up to the elections, an MP tried to kill this story. The question was asked which MP that was, and he mentioned Mustafa Yusuf as the MP, and he's also mentioned A+ as providing evidence to some claims that he has also made. So in all, there are 12 former executive directors of the company, of the National Service Authority, who are currently under investigation, and he did mention that their bank accounts have been frozen and they have been charged formally with the following counts: that is stealing, conspiracy to steal, willfully causing financial loss to the state, using public office for personal gains, obtaining public property by false pretense, money laundering, and conspiracy to commit money laundering. So these are the charges that have been proffered against them. And then they did indicate that by the first week of July, they will be filing the processes in court against them in court. So really that's what the Attorney General Dominic Ayine has been sharing with the press, and let me run you over the figures again. He says that over 548 million Ghana cedis were lost through criminal enterprises by people who worked at the National Service Authority. 12 of them, including MP Mustafa Yusuf, former Director of CSB entry, has also been mentioned. We've also heard the name of Ghc48m, who at a point was an acting boss of the National Service Authority, who the Attorney General explicitly mentioned that she used NSS allowances as collateral to get over 30 million cedis loan from the ADB, and did that by creating over 9,000 ghost names, and said that she was establishing a company that was going to offer appliances, home appliances, to be purchased on high purchase for the NSS personnel, which was never to be the case. So the Attorney General has indicated that if there's any development, he is going to brief the press, but they are taking this issue very seriously. He was asked why he's always briefing the press on their findings, and he says there's nothing wrong with that because he's accountable to the people of Ghana. He cited the United States being one of the oldest democracies where the attorneys usually brief the public on events that are happening in court. So he has promised to continue to go on that tangent and continue to brief the press, brief the people of Ghana through the press on activities that has been going on at his office. So really, that's what he's been talking about today. He's been talking about the alleged NSS Ghost Names Scandals, which was first brought to light by the Fourth Estate, MFR.
Detailed reports from the information services where the Attorney General has just been briefing journalists and the media on updates on the NSS scandal. Now, you want to stay with us here on Joy News because we'll bring you every detail, and he says it's just the beginning of a long briefing that he'll be doing subsequently. Now, away from oral Attorney General and away from the information services as well, striking nurses and midwives have officially called off their nationwide industrial action after days of disagreement with their employers, which led to widespread disruption to healthcare services. The decision was announced today, Friday, June 13, by the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Mrs. Perpetual Ofori-Ampofo, following intensive negotiations with government representatives and an impassioned plea for compassion from various stakeholders.
Considering all that has transpired from 2nd June 2025 in relation to the pleas of the good people of Ghana, pleas from our patients, and the timely intervention of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health, the leadership of the association wishes to state as follows. The engagement held with the Parliamentary Select Committee on Health and other interested parties on Thursday, 12 June 2025, was very fruitful and has paved the way for an amicable resolution of the impasse with our employer concerning the implementation of our collective agreements. 2. In view of point 1 above, the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association's industrial action initiated on 2nd June 2025 is hereby suspended, pending the outcome of the follow-up meeting scheduled for 26 June 2025.
Now, let's do the Basic Education Certificate Examination that's going on. 8 Basic Education Certificate Examination candidates from Nambagu Yapala MAJHS in the northern region may have had their dreams shattered in an instant after being involved in a ghastly motor accident. They were unable to sit for Thursday's paper, a twist of fate that could deny them admission into senior high school this year. The candidates were on their way to write yesterday's paper at the Tamale Secondary School Examination Center in the Sangaru municipality. Representatives for the MP Amin Mohammed explains what happened.
If the candidates are able to get into the hall
students, 8 students were involved, and as we speak now, 7 of them have been discharged with various degrees of injuries, and there is 1 person who is in a critical condition. He is still at the hospital here, and now he has been sent to a private hospital, Habana, for a CT scan.
So has there been any information about her condition?
Currently, as we speak, he is still in pain. His case is still serious, according to the doctor. And so it is the CT scan that would inform the doctors their next line of action. So tomorrow we don't know the fate of this boy, whether WAEC will allow us to bring the papers here for him to write, or what will they do. Because when we got there, in fact, the WAEC officer who we were told is the controller, he came and he was asking of medical report. We said this is not a case of sickness, it is accident. And because of the doctor's strike, when we even got here, the medical superintendent was not there. So in fact, the immediate thing was just how to restore or to safeguard the health of these children. So that was what we all focused on. The doctors here were serious. In fact, so that is why I said I must recommend them. Those the nurses were on strike, but there were two particular nurses I recommend them because in fact they were all over doing everything possible, and within the shortest possible time they were able to pass the switches and do the dressings and even give them some medications to reduce the pain. And that was what even enables us to send them to the exam center. But as soon as the man came and took the papers away and said, oh no, they are not writing, a lot of them started collapsing and started crying again. So in fact, we are calling on WAEC. We know that it is somehow it is against their rules, but in a situation like this, they should show human face. They should show human face. Nobody is saying they should bend their rules, but at least they should show some level of empathy. They should sympathize with these children and do not put their future into despair.
Well, apologies for the earlier insert, but with the candidates being prevented from writing their papers yesterday, the head of public affairs at the West African Examination Council, WAEC, John Kapi, says the candidates can only write the missed out papers next year.
If indeed they were at a clinic or at a health facility, at least they should have had something to show that that is where they were. But if they had nothing on them, then probably that is the reason the supervisor probably denied them access to the exam center. However, we would follow through and find out exactly what the reasons are or the conditions are, and then we'll know how to go about this particular situation.
Are there any assurances that in case we find out they had legitimate reasons, they will be allowed to take the papers that they missed?
Well, once the exam is over for those particular papers, until next year, there wouldn't be any supplementary examination for them. If they had been allowed to write, then there are processes that we go through to ensure that they get results. But then once they did not write and the period is over, they may have to wait until next year.
That means they can't go to SHS?
Well, technically, that is what it means. I don't know what, was it yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday, okay. I'm not, or English language, okay. If they want to use English language as a basis for denying them access to SHS admission, then that is what is going to happen.
Well, he also added that the council cannot grant the candidates any form of clemency.
Candidates are able to get into the hall and then sit for the examination, even let's say for 5 or 10 minutes, and then we are able to confirm that they were at a health facility for which reason they did not get there early enough to write the examination. Fine. Then the clemency case that the head of office mentioned yesterday could be applied. But as we speak, if what you are telling me is anything to go by, I don't have details of whatever happened there. But if they did not write at all, then there's no way any clemency could be applied.
Now, before we engage some of our correspondents on today's purpose, here is a wrap for the week on the BECE so far.
More than 603,000 candidates are sitting for this year's BECE, which began on Wednesday, June 11th, and is expected to end on Tuesday, June 18th. The candidates include more than 297,000 males and more than 306,000 females. But as the exams progress, human interest stories are emerging from various parts of the country. Joy News reporters across the regions have confirmed that at least 24 candidates are pregnant, 21 of them in the Upper East region alone, 2 from the Volta region, and 1 from the Ashanti region. 11 of the candidates are already having babies. In one extraordinary case, a female candidate in the Ashanti region who went into labor while writing her ICT paper at the Asenua Presbyterian Junior High School Exam Center in Mampontin on Wednesday returned on Thursday to continue the exams. Elsewhere, safety concerns marred the process. In the northern region, 8 candidates were involved in a motor accident. One is currently undergoing a CT scan, while others sustained injuries that prevented them from writing Thursday's papers. A similar incident occurred in the Wassa East district of the Western region, where 5 female candidates were injured in another motorbike crash. Meanwhile, exam malpractices continue to pose a major concern. On the first day of the exams, 10 individuals, including 6 invigilators and a supervisor, were arrested. YX sources tell Joy News that more arrests were made on Thursday.
Now, still on the BECE, let's take a trip across the country. We start with the northern region. Martina, give us an update. So yesterday, 8 students who were involved in accidents were prevented from writing their papers. We've heard from YX, but what's the current updates today?
So these children came in this morning to write. Some of them whose parents had motorbikes brought them on motorbike, but those who didn't have still had to come in that tricycle. We are told that that is the only means of transport from that community to the center. And so they had to come in that same tricycle. They arrived them. They were giving some talks to encourage them, but you could still feel most of them were still in pain. And then they entered into the exams hall. Halfway through the exams hall, one of the invigilators came to speak to the supervisors who had brought them to the center, that they needed painkillers because some of them were in pain. So they had to go get painkillers and bring it to them to take and then continue with the paper. A GES official who we chanced at the center said that the Ghana Education Service in the northern region here has written to their headquarters in Accra to begin the process of seeing what they can do for these boys who were involved in the accident. Another incident happened at the same center. A lady who we are told had genies suddenly walked out of the exams hall and started walking around. She was held. They brought in a spiritualist who prayed for her, and then she calmed down, and then they got her back into the exams hall to continue the examination.
So you mentioned a lady who had what particularly?
These are spiritual things. We are told that they are like dwarfs sent on people, and then they attack them, especially when, this is the spiritualist interpretation. She says that they are bought on people to stop them from progressing in life. And so anytime they see that you have a prominent stand that is going to propel you to a different level, they come in, attack you, and get you off your feet. And so that's basically what happens. So she was sort of, when it happens that way, she starts behaving as if she's not normal. And for a brief period, that's what happened before she was able to go back. We are told that it happened yesterday and it has happened today again.
To this same candidate, and while this was happening in the center, or the spiritually attended to her outside of the exam hall?
No, the same center. Because we are probably not allowed to show the videos, but you would see that they hold her and they recite some Quranic words into her ears, and they pour water on her just to encourage her, talk to her. And then the process went on for a while before she calmed down, laid on the ground, went off for a while, and then she got up, sat. They helped her to go into the center to continue the paper.
And so she didn't have any special time allocated to her after this?
We had to leave to a different center, so we didn't get the updates on that, but we would get subsequently in our later bulletins, we would have some updates on that.
Thank you. Interesting, Martina. Amazing. Thank you for bringing us that update from the northern region. Let's go to the western region quickly. In Natalia, what's happening in the western region?
Yes, sir, Mefa. Just like we rightly said before, at Wassa Gava, 5 female students yesterday were also run down by a motorcycle when they had gone to get some food before the start of their paper. Our information is that this motor rider lost control and then ran into these 5 female students who were going to ride the BECE. One of them had a dental injury, and then the others had injury on their legs. They were immediately rushed to the hospital, and then they had to come back to the center and ride, though they were not fit enough. But I understand that they were told by their teachers that if they missed the exams this year, that means they had to wait till next year. And they were not ready to wait till next year. So in their pains, in their wounds, they had to get back and then write their exams. Today, they are back and they are writing their exams. You can see that they have not fully recovered. They are still traumatized. They are still not looking okay, but they still have to go in and write the exams.
Well, Ina, what has since happened to this motor rider?
He was also hospitalized. I mean, he was also injured, and so he was also hospitalized. He has not left the hospital as we speak. He's still in the hospital.
But the police has since not involved themselves in this at all?
Well, they said there is an investigation ongoing. As and when they are ready with their investigation, we would let our listeners and viewers know what the outcome will be. But just like I told you, we understand that he lost control whilst riding on that stretch of the road.
Right. Ina, thank you so much for bringing us updates on BECE candidates from the Western region. You're watching Joy News today. Please stay for business, sports, and showbiz.
Welcome back to Business here on Joy News today. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. The Secretary General of Ghana reported a 30% increase in profit in 2024 compared to the previous year. According to the Managing Director, Hakeem Houzani, the strong performance is attributed to the bank's resilient business model, which prioritizes support for SMEs and strategic funding for large-scale projects that drive economic growth. He spoke to Joy Business on the sidelines of the bank's 45th annual general meeting held in Accra. The State General Bank has declared dividend payments to its shareholders at its 45th annual general meeting held in Accra. According to the Managing Director, Mr. Hakeem Houzani, the dividend decision reflects the bank's strong performance and resilience throughout 2024, which he attributed to its robust and forward-looking business model.
Dividend declaration, we have declared 0.34 Ghana cedi per share. This provides our shareholders the highest distribution dividend since 2013. In the last 12 years, it's the highest profit that we distribute to our shareholders, and also the yield. When you calculate the yield compared to the price of the share, we are around 23% yield, which is a very good profit or yield per share. So we hope that with this we are also strengthening the trust of our shareholders in the resilience of the placement that they are doing with and the trust that they have with us, with Société Générale Ghana, and we will continue to work hard to provide the right returns for them.
He also reaffirmed the bank's strategic focus on supporting small and medium-sized enterprises and expanding its green financing portfolio.
We have made a very good year, 2024. As I said, we have made the progress on the asset side, on the NBI side, net banking income side, and we have also increased our profit by 30%.
That's all for business. We have more business update for you at 1 p.m. on the marketplace. That's all. We have sports up next. Stay tuned.
Sports now on Joy News today with me, Muftar Nabila Abdullah, Christopher Barbonsu, Ghana International, says that he's hopeful Ghana will qualify to the FIFA World Cup in the USA, Mexico, and Canada. Speaking to my colleague Abdul Karim Benin, he says that he's hoping that Ghana wins their next round of matches in September to be able to secure qualification to the Mundial.
How you play, you've been compared to a player like Christian Achu, like your performance dribbling. How are you looking to model your game around these players?
Yeah, for me, I think them comparing me to them is something good, but I will not say like I'll focus on those things because Christian Achu and those are top players now. They are legend and like you cannot compare yourself to them. But them comparing me to Christian Achu means I'm doing something good, so I have to keep on doing what I'm doing.
So Ghana qualifying for the World Cup and you being with the squad to be played in the US, what will it mean to you to be part of the Black Star squad for the 2026 World Cup?
Yeah, for me, I think it's every player's dream to be part of the national team squad to the World Cup. But as I said, when you focus on those things, you cannot perform. You just have to trust the process one after the other. Now I go to my club and I focus on my club and I give all to my club and we'll see what will come next.
Up next is Showbiz.
Hello there, good afternoon. You're welcome to the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Sumar Yabua. To our first story, it's time to drop the label, says rising reggae dancehall artist Akle, who is calling out on the constant stereotyping of musicians in her genre. In an interview on Daybreak Hits on Hits FM, she didn't hold back on what she thinks the industry and fans are getting wrong.
What I do, sometimes I just curve in and try to do better all the time, and sometimes to people stop judging us. Come on, go dance, or that doesn't mean the person is wayward. From here, I'm going home and I'm in my room till nightfall. You understand?
Yeah.
Because I've done away with many things, many people, places, and things that are holding me back. Yeah, so that I can go alone on a journey with Revolution Records until Shiloh come. Yeah, so people should stop judging us. Somebody saw me in an Uber in the traffic and said, I'm like, why? Why are you projecting your insecurity on me? And the car drove off. I just laughed.
I can imagine. Well, emotions run high and tissues run out as tearful ex of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was asked to read her own love note out loud in court. Yes, you heard that right. We have more in the following report.
On day 2 of a gripping cross-examination, Diddy's defense lawyer, Tenny Karagus, went full mistake mood, scrolling through a series of romantic texts between Combs and the woman known only as Jane. Their relationship, which spanned from 2021 to his arrest last September, included emotional highs, luxury gifts, and some dark, disturbing lows. Jane, who once told Combs she'd never had a man take care of her like you do, broke down mid-testimony, sniffling, crying, and eventually slumping in her chair as the courtroom watched in silence. But the defense claims Jane was a willing participant of the explicit encounters Diddy allegedly orchestrated, while prosecutors argue he used threats, drugs, and manipulation to control the woman in his orbit. Combs, who denies all charges of sex trafficking and racketeering, faces up to life behind bars if convicted, with the prosecution possibly wrapping up next week and the defense ready to drop their side of the story. All eyes are on whether this hip-hop heavyweight will walk free.
All on that note is a wrap for the Showbiz segments with me, Jacqueline and Suma Yabua. Over to you, MFA Kusiadeti.
Thank you so much, Jackie. So today I'm certain you know that text messages really count, and you be careful. Thank you for watching. For more news, though, please log on to myjoyonline.com. I'm MFA Kusiadeti. Thank you for watching.